Hey everybody, Ezra Levant here. What a pleasure to be back with you. My name is Ezra. I am the Rebel Commander of Rebel News, and I love the live streams. Sometimes I'm out of town, so I can't do them, but I'm here, and I got a lot of things to say, because every day I do a full show, the Ezra Levant Show. I do a monologue and interview a guest, but that doesn't mean that's all I'm thinking about. All day I'm bombarded, like I'm sure you are, by videos and news releases and emails and chitter-chatter on social media, and I got an opinion on most of it, and some of it's just outrageous, and some of it's embarrassing, and some of them, I think, are little microcosms of the world we're in. I mean, I saw this. Can I show you a dramatic thespian? Can I show you a dramatic actor? Can I show you someone who maybe isn't quite as good a singer as he thinks he is? Reminds me of when his wife sang at the Martin Luther King. Hey, can you get that, Olivia? Can you dig up that Martin Luther King video in a second? But first, let me show you Canada's pride. Canada's leader of the Canadian delegation to the Queen's funeral today. A somber occasion. Everyone's wearing black armbands. The end of an era, 96-year-old Queen who was our Queen of Canada. It's a somber occasion. But for Justin Trudeau, that shallow man-child, it was a chance for him to get drunk and do a little show tunes. Take a look at this. All right, it's looping. Thank you for that. So that's Justin Trudeau, a few sheets to the wind, as they say, in a 2,000 pound a night hotel room in central London, just entertaining the whole bar, because he's a showboat. And if he's already shown you his socks, if that's what he's already done, and if he already told you what a feminist he is, as he's using his sexy voice, girl, I'm such a feminist. If he's already done the blackface thing, or maybe he doesn't do that for party tricks anymore, what's there left to do but do a little dramatic actor, Broadway singing? It really does remind me of Sophie Trudeau, his wife, who sang a homemade song at the Martin Luther King Day. Martin Luther King is an American. He was a black civil rights hero, great man, assassinated tragically. He had so many sayings that I myself find myself quoting all the time, by the content of our character, not the color of our skin. Beautiful civil rights leader. Nothing to do with Canada at all. Completely American story. But Sophie Gregoire Trudeau thought she would sing at the Martin Luther King event in Ottawa, because, of course, when I think of black civil rights in America, I think of Sophie Gregoire Trudeau. And when I think of a way to celebrate black civil rights, instead of, some of the black hymns and gospel songs, and I think of a homemade song by a gold digger married to a thespian. And without any further ado, here's Sophie Gregoire Trudeau singing a homemade song, and you can see that family night at the Trudeau home. I don't think they're actually a family anymore. I think they're estranged, but there's lots of singing. Take a look.
I have heard my fellow human beings and friends here today sing. This is not planned, trust me. I'm going to step up. Yes, and I'm in a moment where I was going through that angels can fly, and some people fight without knowing why. Some people live without seeing the light. And some people live, oh no, but not quite. And I know that good will prevail, and I could conquer the world with all the love that I feel. When you smile back at me, when you smile back at me, I see it from the corner of your eye, the day that we will say goodbye. But nothing.
Thanks for showing that, Olivia. You know what? If that was an American Idol song, there would be people hitting those horns or whatever. Can you find Gavin McInnes and Sophie Gregoire Trudeau? Because Gavin, our former talent, did a duet with her that is perhaps the single funniest video ever broadcast on Rebel News. So I don't know how easy it is to find, but Gavin sings along with Sophie Gregoire Trudeau. Now, I think that Sophie Gregoire Trudeau is a better singer than I am. But I don't think that she's good enough that at an event celebrating Black American history, something with which she has no contact whatsoever, that she would just sing a song she wrote at the official event, because why not? Who's going to stop her? Just like who was going to stop her from calling up the Aga Khan's daughter and saying, hey, can I come to your private, billionaire's island in the Bahamas? And they answered, well, we're not going to be there. And she said, oh, that's fine. I just want to use the place. And she brought all her gold digger friends with her. I don't know if you know that, but that whole Trudeau trip to the Bahamas to stay at the Aga Khan's, that was not Justin Trudeau's idea. That was Sophie Trudeau's idea. Okay, watch Gavin do this. Is that, you got the video there? This is one of the funniest things I've ever seen. Go to where they start duetting. Yeah, go ahead. That's perfect.
Some people die.
Ooh, yeah, yeah.
Angels can fly.
Yeah, yeah.
And some people fight
Look how white that audience is.
without knowing why.
Oh, sing it,
Some
sister.
people
Preach it.
live without seeing the light.
Oh, my God. Look at them. What do you think, brothers and sisters? There's some African back there. He's never even heard of Martin Luther King.
No, but not quite.
Look at the picture behind her.
And I know that good will prevail.
Who's this lady?
And I could conquer the world. The love that I feel when you smile back at me. When you smile back at me.
Is she Eartha
see
Kitt?
in the corner of your eye.
Oh, it's a new song
Say
now.
that we will say goodbye, but nothing will take away what's between you and me.
Oh, my God. Is that guy asleep or blind?
Smile back at me.
When you smile back at me.
When you smile, when you smile, when you smile.
Beautiful.
I love you.
I love you too.
Child.
I love you, my child. Ooh. Check this out. Was she Eva Perón? Is this Evita? Don't cry for me, Argentina. Thank you, Rogers TV. Wow, what a mess.
Oh my God. He's funny. I like when he says, oh, it's a new song. How, you know what, that song had nothing to do with Black America or Black Canada. It was a song that Sophie Gregoire Trudeau said she wrote about her own child. They're showboats, they're thespians, and you just can't keep them down. Just give me one more play of Justin Trudeau in London, showing the appropriate somberness and respect for the occasion of the death of the Queen, who went out for a few drinks and to belt out some hits, and his staff all applauded because that's what you do for the boss. Give me one more play of Justin Trudeau's song in the bar, if you please. We're so proud of Justin Trudeau. Aren't you proud of him? I learned from our own Yankee Pollock that it is the third anniversary of Trudeau wearing blackface at, so many times, but the third anniversary of the photos coming out. And if I recall, that was in Time magazine. Is that right? Was it Time or Newsweek? And the thing is, as you may know, Time magazine is an American magazine. And why would they break the news about Trudeau? Did they have some sort of special source? Did they have some special interest in Canada? The answer is no. Turns out the person who sent them the photos had sent them to Canadian media first, but the Canadian media would not run them. They all had them. And you might recall that this news broke, and within hours, CBC and Global released their own photos of Trudeau in blackface, and in Global News' case, a video of it, which tells you that not only did they have it, they had more. And that shocking video of Trudeau in blackface, but they made the editorial decision to protect their benefactor, to protect the precious, and they knew it was incredibly newsworthy. But they did not want to embarrass their candidate. And so, as usual, we relied on the foreign media to tell us the truth about Canadian politics because we could not. Yeah, go ahead, play that video. This is a video that Global had years ago. They had this, but they would not. What's with the tongue? And he painted his whole body. And does he have something in his crotch there? Did he stick something in his crotch for show? He's so meticulous, he even painted his knee black. And his arms, that's not just blackface. What a disgrace our Prime Minister is. He's changed our country. He's broken a lot of bonds between the state and the people. He's turned the state against the people, and he's even pitted us against each other. Look at this video from Vancouver's airport. I have to tell you, I don't know the story behind this, but it looks like a woman is being attacked by, 2, 3, 4 cops, and she doesn't look like a drug dealer. Give me the volume on that. You play it from the top again. Yeah. So that soundtrack, don't be distracted by that. I guess there is no audio. But that doesn't look like a woman who was drunk. Doesn't look like a terrorist. Looks like she's passing through customs or something. It's 12:30 a.m., so she obviously just wants to get in the country and go home. But I'm guessing, and I think she's got a mask on. I can't quite see. So I'm guessing she didn't fill out some ArriveCAN app or something. I mean, I could be totally wrong. Maybe that woman started saying, I'm going to hijack an airplane or something actionable. Could be. I think it's much more likely that is some public health theater mixed with airport security theater, and I put that on the shoulders of Trudeau. But I've got some great news. The Alzheimer's patient who currently occupies 1600 Pennsylvania Drive did an interview with 60 Minutes. I've never seen a more softball interview in my life. But he did say the pandemic's over. Now, I think he immediately forgot what he said, and I think he forgot where he was. And occasionally he forgets he's the president. He introduces himself as a senator. But listen to this. Here's Joe Biden.
Mr. President, first Detroit Auto Show in 3 years.
Yeah.
Is the pandemic over?
The pandemic is over. We still have a problem with COVID. We're still doing a lot of work on it. But the pandemic is over. If you notice, no one's wearing masks. Everybody seems to be in pretty good shape. And so I think it's changing, and I think this is a perfect example of it.
Mr. President, first...
Well, there you have it. So COVID's over. No one's wearing masks. Everyone's over it. Now, it's not true that no one's wearing masks. There's a lot of Democrats who still wear masks for show. I saw a picture the other day of Biden's wife wearing a mask and him not. There really is no rhyme or reason. But he felt like saying it was over because he was trying to say, yeah, the economy's going. If he's in Detroit, that's a place that needs all the economic boost it can get. But if the pandemic is over, I guess my question is, why are they still banning Canadians and any other nationalities from entering the U.S. without a vaccine? Why are they doing that if the pandemic's over? Of course, they never checked people illegally crossing their southern border for a vaccine, so I guess there are some folks who they haven't checked. But if you say the pandemic is over and you say there's no need for masks anymore, and if you say things are back to normal, why are you banning Canadians who are not jabbed from entering the country? Biden's just a weirdo. Here's a video of him groping some poor child. I don't know the date of this video. I just came across it online by chance last night, and it reminded me what a creepy, creepy old man he is. Take a look at this.
What?
Yeah, just stop kissing children, stop groping them, stop putting your hands on their bodies, and just Just stop doing that. Can you just stop doing that, you creepy, creepy old man? Just so gross. I'm deeply embarrassed. Let's stop talking about them and let's start talking about... Hey, let me ask you a question. You know, batteries don't work as well when it's super cold out. Do you ever experience that yourself? Sometimes we're out doing journalism in the really, really cold. And, for example, I remember having an iPad. I was using an iPad as a teleprompter outside. And it must have been minus 20. And that iPad, the battery stopped working maybe in 20 minutes, where it normally would last for hours. Cell phones are the same way. I think cameras are the same way. And I think it's the same way with Teslas. I could be wrong on that, but when it's really, really cold, batteries don't seem to have the same life. I don't think I'm saying anything new to you when I say that. It's just one of those things. Would you be comfortable getting on board an all-electric airplane, like a Tesla of airplanes, that had a range of just 200 kilometers? Look at this. Heart Aerospace unveils new electric aircraft. Air Canada invests and orders 30 planes. Well, that's a bit of an exaggeration because the planes aren't really flying yet. It's just a concept, and I think Air Canada made a token investment as like a PR move just to stop people squawking at them. But I understand that they have a range, that means a distance of 200 kilometers. Now, if you are driving on a Canadian highway, depends on where you are, but typically the highway speeds are 100 kilometers an hour, 110. I think there might be some places in Canada where de facto it's like 120. So there's not a lot of routes where you would fly just 200 kilometers or less, are there? Like, I checked the distance as the crow flies between the great cities of Montreal and Ottawa. It's about 200 kilometers exactly by car, but if you flew airport to airport more directly, it's about 170 kilometers. So would you get on board an all-electric aircraft with a maximum range of 200 kilometers for a 170-kilometer flight? Okay, well, you better be sure that that plane doesn't have to circle once or twice to land. Have you ever had that happen to you? You're in an airplane and air traffic control, or for safety reasons, the aircraft has to circle once or twice? I've had that happen to me. What if you're in an electric plane and it's only got a few minutes left in its range? Who would possibly get aboard a passenger aircraft in Canada, the second largest country in the world, one of the coldest countries in the world, that has a 200-kilometer range? That is a stunt. That is a trick. That is a PR gimmick. I mean, would you get on an all-electric aircraft experimental at all? If you're on an experimental, if you're in an electric car, like a Tesla, and you run out of juice, okay, fine, you're on the ground. But in the sky? And it takes a long time for these things to charge. So after a 200-kilometer journey from Montreal to Ottawa, how long does that plane have to recharge for? Hours? It's the weirdest thing I saw, but to see the leftists crowing about how excited they were made me laugh. You know what? It's 12:20, and I'd just like to hop on these live streams to say hi to folks. But let me see if there's any super chats. Are there any super chats that have come in? Because otherwise, I'm gonna get going and writing my show tonight. I want to invite you to tune in on my show tonight. And by the way, I'm going to hand things over. I understand my friend Alexa will be on the live stream. I think so, because I see her on standby, and you're in for a treat to have her as your live stream host today. Let me tell you what I'm going to talk about tonight. I don't know if you saw over the weekend, there was this wonderful viral trend on Twitter of Canadians saying, I'm so-and-so, I'm this many years old, this is what I do for a living, but because I have this view on freedom or bodily autonomy, Trudeau calls me an enemy. It was this beautiful template that everyone could sort of, it was almost like an introduction to yourself. I'm Ezra Levant, I'm 50 years old, I run an independent news network, but because I believe in freedom and bodily autonomy, Trudeau calls me a fringe minority. So there was a gazillion of these, and they had the hashtag Trudeau must go. Like, look at that. Look at that. Everyone has a lovely photo of themselves and their family, or like it felt like a friendship, almost like a dating site, but it wasn't for dating. It was, here's a photo of me, here's a quick bio of me. Please like me and understand I'm a citizen, and Trudeau hates me because of that. So it was just it was a wonderful thing to scroll through and see what a interesting mix Canadians are. Every walk of life, every age, every socioeconomic class. You know, there were people who, were single. There were people who were grandmas. There were people, one guy said he was in construction for 51 years. Like, I love just seeing all these different people, and what united them is that they were saying Trudeau must go, and there were, I don't know, 250,000 such tweets. And Gerald Butts, Trudeau's corrupt right-hand man, was raging against us. Who's paying for this? Who's paying for this? Paying for? What are you talking about paying for? Can I get paid for my tweet? Like, how does that even work? And, not only is that a kooky conspiracy theory by Gerald Butts, but also I think projects a little bit that, are you paying fake Twitter tweets? Gerald Butts made me think. Anyways, I'll be talking about that at length on my Ezra Levant show tonight at 8 p.m. I hope you'll tune in for that. But let me say goodbye to you now. I want to play for you a quick ad for an event we have coming up on the 22nd. Rex Murphy and Conrad Black live in concert. You don't want to miss this. So let me say goodbye to you, leave you with this ad, and then I'll hand you over to my friend Alexa Lavoie. Au revoir. Other than your friends at Rebel News, who are the best journalists in Canada? Well, obviously, it's Rex Murphy and Conrad Black. They're amazing. Conrad Black, the founder of the National Post, and its lead columnist. Rex Murphy, one of the wisest and funniest conservative critics in the country. Oh, I love both of those guys. Imagine spending dinner with not one, but both of them. Well, you can. Or even just come to a discussion between the two men. Here's what I'm talking about. On September 22nd, the Democracy Fund is hosting an amazing evening with Conrad Black and Rex Murphy. It's going to start out with a wine and cheese reception. Then it's going to have the two men in conversation for 90 minutes. And then afterwards, for those who like, a private dinner with Conrad Black and Rex Murphy, and I'll be there too. And I don't know, I'm excited about it. There is going to be a lot of intellectual horsepower there, and two fascinating guys. If you're interested, you can find out all the details at the link below or at the democracyfund.ca/events. The prices start at just $11. If you're not in the Toronto area, you can watch online on Zoom the conversation. If you are in the Toronto area, come on out. You can buy a ticket just for the conversation between the two men. They're on stage. You can get a ticket for the wine and cheese beforehand, or come to the sit-down dinner afterwards, sort of the after party with Rex Murphy and Conrad Black, and I will be there. Apologies if I'm a deterrent for you buying a ticket. I'm kidding around. It's going to be a great night. I'll see you there. September 22nd, the Democracy Fund. Find out more at thedemocracyfund.ca/events or click the link below. Tickets start at $11 and they go up to $250 if you want that sit-down dinner with Rex and Conrad afterwards. The Democracy Fund, of course, being a CRA-registered charity, so your money goes towards a good cause. All right, we'll see you on September 22nd. That's thedemocracyfund.ca.
Hey guys, welcome to Hey Alexa, how's it going today?
I'm very good, and you?
I'm doing all right. So yeah, guys, welcome to the live stream. And of course, we're going to be reading your comments. You heard Ezra asking about those earlier, so feel free, add your paid chats. If they're $1 or below $5, then they'll be put on screen. And if they're above $5, then we're going to read them out for you guys. So Alexa, it's been a busy week. Oh, and also I just want to say, if you're watching this on YouTube, well, maybe you should watch it on one of the other platforms that we have going, something that's a little less censored, something a little more monetizable. But that said, Alexa, you had a busy weekend. There were protests that were happening across Canada. Would you mind going into that a little bit?
Yeah, so for me, I was in Montreal. So again, like a lot of thousands of people did show up. A lot of them were in support of the fact that we still have some mandate and some measure in place, especially with ArriveCAN and other measure that is put in place by federal and provincial government. So we know that the election is coming up on the 3rd of October, would be the final date for going to vote. I invite everybody to vote. It's really important. But we know that probably CAC, Mr. Legault, will probably be re-elected since all the elderly people are in his favor, since he promised a check of $2,000 to them. But a lot of people were at Parc Émilie Gamelin in Montreal. It was the point of gathering for starting the march. And so a lot of people were there. A lot of people were wearing CHSLD sign. So what it is elderly facility is the name of the public place for elderly people. So as you know, in Quebec, it was one of the worst number of deaths. So we have more than 6,000 people who die in the CHSLD. And Mr. Legault is refusing a public investigation about it, probably because he's maybe scared that they found something that he was not good decision on this. But a lot of people were there, a lot were solidaire, and they wanted to send a message to whoever is elected that people will keep to be solidaire and ask for dropping mandate and to have their life back. And especially with the inflation, a lot of Quebecers are really concerned about it. I know that in Toronto, they had like a rally as well. I think Maxime Bernier was there for doing a speech too. So it was looking like pretty huge as well. So it's nice to see that people are not asleep and because of the summer. So I know that Ephraim was there on the ground and Tabitha as well. And I don't know, did you know a little bit about the West Coast?
Yeah, so I believe we had Celine, one of our reporters, in Calgary over the weekend, and that report will be coming soon too. I'm not sure exactly who else might have been out, but I just wanted to mention, as we're talking about the protests in Quebec and Legault, it really did get bad in Quebec. You guys had curfew. I remember the riots, or not riots, but the police in force at the Montreal Canadiens games. Yeah. And as well, I remember at one point he was almost ready to implement a tax for the unvaccinated. And when it came to going into a grocery store, well, even that was at risk. It was a very dark times for Quebec.
Yes, and you know, in the leader debate, Mr. Legault tried to defend the curfew when we know that the public health never say that was a good idea and to implement that. So he tried to say that, yes, he limited the contact and everything, like to go home at 8 o'clock at night. But people who wanted to see each other did it like before 8, and his defense was just not good. So again, like, you have nothing to say about it. And during the debate was a big flop. But the thing is, as you know, the population is more and more old. And so we have the part of the population is mostly now like 70, 60 and more. And we know that Mr. Legault it's doing really great with that generation. So because they is going to their elderly facility, they promise check with a lot of money, try to reduce their tax income. And so, but the biggest part of the population that are in between, I would say 25 to 40, like the active generation, are mostly for Conservative Party of Quebec. But the fact is, we should, like, it's them. They are the one who live in the society now because they are active. And unfortunately, they will not have their voice heard because the biggest part of the old people will just elect Mr. Legault because what they think that is good. He did great during the pandemic, and of course, like they will have more money in their pocket at the end. But it's really sad to see like taking money from the young to give to the old. I can understand that they sacrifice, like they did their life and they work hard, and they should have like a part coming back to them. But also like we should not penalize like the active generation that now will probably pay for like all the money that they give to the old people, because that will have an impact on every sphere of life, economy, probably inflation too. Like, of course, like more you give money, more at one point the money will come from somewhere. So yeah, it's really sad. And yeah, I'm expecting a coalition avenir, Mr. Legault government on the 3rd of October. I hope it will be minority so we can have like a strong opposition. But for now, it's majority. And as you see, like we didn't have any opposition for the past 2 years to try to challenge the decision that it have been made so far. So I just hope like we'll have like a really strong opposition. So for all the bill or decision that it will take, at least they will have like a nice and good challenge, a democratic challenge in the National Assembly.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to touch on one last thing. I know we're going to move on to the electric plane soon, and I know Ezra touched on that. But there's this one article from the Star, the Toronto Star, and it's headlined "Anger, Delusion, and Distrust: Is Canada's Democracy in Decline?" And I think, to what you're speaking about in Quebec, well, it's certainly across the country, people have been, I guess you could say, feeling down, feeling mistrusting of government, feeling like they were let down over the last 2 years. And what do our politicians and our mainstream media outlets do? Well, they put up headlines like this, and the byline, what is it? The grievances of conspiracy theorists and, quote, freedom, end quote, supporters have cast a long shadow across Canadian politics in 2022, one that hangs over the capital as Parliament returns for its summer recess. So it's sad how you see a lot of this framing is negativity towards those who have literally been struggling to survive over the last 2 years and just basically have been asking for a break, a reprieve from these government mandates, and yet they're considered to be extremists. Much like, well, I guess when we talk about the environmentalists in this next story about the electric vehicles, they take these extreme measures and then they call those who think that it's perhaps not reasonable, they call them the extremists. And I'm not sure if we have that headline here, but what is it? Heart Aerospace unveils new electric aircraft. Air Canada invests and orders 30 planes. And I know Ezra mentioned on this a little bit, but what are your thoughts, Alexa?
Well, first of all, I will not take that plane. You will not see me on that plane. First of all, I'm not being the cobaye for like trying this. No. Especially what Ezra was saying just before we jump on the live stream. What if, like, with the ArriveCAN, sometimes like the plane needs to stay like a little bit like up in the air because like something is not working, or sometimes you have. I know because it's happened to me, like you were not capable to land because you had too much like plane, and so you needed to wait in the air. What happened with that? Like if like the battery is just shutting down, it's just like what, you crash? Yeah. Like no, you will not see me on this plane at all.
It's funny they're pushing for new environmental initiatives, and electric vehicles is one. And I've seen a few reports of yours on hydrogen. And you'd think, if they're going to make a plane that's a little more environmentally friendly, why would they pick an electric battery over at least an engine of some kind?
So now they try, like, I know that I think it was in 2021, Mr. Trudeau went to Montreal to talk with Legault about having, it was like a part of the plane was electric. And now they want to make it all electric with like the motor. But you need to know like the impact that will have on the rest of the planet, because they don't think about where it's come from, all the mineral and all the material that's needs to build that. That was the one that I actually assisted. And that actually blocked my microphone when I was trying to ask a question. But they were there to announce that they were spending like $693 million on investment for our aerospace industry in Quebec for electrify a piece, not the plane, just a piece of the plane. So now I'm pretty surprised, because now if it's like a full plane, if that was 693 million for just a part of the plane, how much would cost like a full plane?
Yeah, to say the least. And I think it's kind of, they'll advocate for this. And Trudeau, he'll say go green. He'll say you can't have a car that burns oil or gas. But then what's happening in England right now? You've got world leaders from around the world there to respect the Queen in her passing and to be there for the funeral. How many of them are using electric jets? And they do the same thing when they went to COP26. They did the same thing when they went to the World Economic Forum meeting in Davos. All of these elites from around the world are telling you that you can't excrete any kind of carbon, and then they go off and they just waste gallons and gallons and gallons of fuel. So, and they say nothing about it except that you're bad for doing the same thing.
Yeah, and now we see like the Queen buried, you say, but like have you seen when Mr. Legault just sing Queen, like playing, like it was Gregory Charles from Quebec that was playing at the piano, but have you seen that video where I don't know if a friend can like play it, but Mr. Trudeau was saying like Queen in honor of the Queen there. I was like,
no.
It was able to pick up like maybe a better, like I don't know, like Queen. I love Queen, like it's actually a genius, like it's one of my favorite band. But saying like Mr. Legault sing that song is like a disgrace for that band first and for the Queen as well.
I'm not sure what got into Trudeau's mind there. And I made the point on the pre-live stream that we have on Instagram, where it's like, is there some connection between the Queen and Queen the band that
No.
I'm just not aware of? Or did he just not think about it and he thought, oh, Queen, yeah, I guess, anything that's Queen is the Queen related. Yeah, and there we have the clip there. Using his teaching skills well.
But again, we see that Mr. Trudeau's sometimes choice of decision is not like the best one. I don't know which kind of connection went to his head, saying, "Oh, but because like the band is called Queen, I'm gonna like sing sing one of his songs." Oh.
You have the same accent,
Like probably like using like a proper song, probably like the favorite song of maybe the Queen herself would be more like nice than like choosing the band just because the name is Queen. Like you have no link in between. For me, it's not related at all. But yeah, that's proof again that Mr. Trudeau is a little bit limit on his decision choice.
Yeah, well, it's as related to the Queen as his initiatives are to environmentalism. But moving on, we've got a bit of a teaser for you. The Kamloops documentary is coming soon in theaters, and we just want to show you guys a little bit of that now.
Oh, yes.
Are you liking the banter on our live stream that you're watching right now? If so, you should know that you can get exclusive Rebel News content by going to rebelnewsplus.com. You'll get special shows from my colleagues Sheila Gunn-Reid, Ezra Levant, as well as the Menzoid Menzies, and you'll also get to view our exclusive documentaries, including the one that tells you the truth of what was actually discovered, at least what is known to be discovered so far at the Kamloops Indian Residential School. Take a look at the trailer.
Well, the remains of 215 children have been found in a mass grave in Canada.
Many of you know that just over a year ago, the discovery of the remains of 215 children was found at the Kamloops Indian Residential School at the Kamloops-Shuswamic First Nation. But what if I were to show you that what I just said wasn't true, and that in fact, a year later, not a single body has been found.
This mass grave is a painful reminder of the genocide.
Canada's leaders aren't condemning the burning of churches. No, they're endorsing the burning of churches.
A juvenile rib bone that surfaced in the same area.
You'd be surprised the number of people who say, you know, I'm a doctor, I'm a paramedic, and this is definitely a human bone, and it's definitely not.
Looks like the chief.
It is.
Could be.
Well, the remains of 215 children have been found in a mass grave in Canada.
Do you want to get closer to the truth about what was actually buried at Kamloops Indian Residential School last year? So do I. That's why the Rebels are doing a live screening in Calgary at Canyon Meadows Cinemas, and we want you to join us. We'll be there to watch this documentary with you, meet and greet you, and answer any questions that you have. I can't wait to see you. There's more info below.
Highly recommend you guys check that out. And if you can come in theaters, then I'll be there too. Alexa, what do you think about that story?
So again, transparency is not something that it's common here in Canada, I would say, because we heard about the unmarked grave, but nobody have been found yet, and the ground have not been excavated like yet too. So if you are really sure that they have like some body there, dead body, why you didn't try right now to dig the ground? Especially we are summer, so it's the best time to do it. So after that, during the winter, you were not capable to do it. So is it like, because she explained a little bit in the documentary that they use a kind of system that you can find some irregularity in the ground, okay, but that doesn't say what it is. It can be any kind of thing. So if they were sure that it was dead body, why not excavate it now? And we know that in that time they had like a big disease that was common into the camp, but at that time when you were infected, they were burning the body. It's what they were doing, as what they did during COVID-19. Everybody who died from it, they burned the body. It's what happened when you have like a really infectious disease. It's how they were doing it. So if they actually died from this disease, their body was probably burned. So my point of view, like, try to excavate it and try to show us really if they are like bones there and dead body there, and after that we can like begin the real conversation about what really happened there. But for now it's speculation because we don't know, we have no proof of it. So my point of view is like, since we have no tangible proof, for now it's just discussion that go nowhere.
Well, I think the difficult part about it is, well, when the reports came out, I think the technology that they were basing it on was not capable of making the assertions that those in charge of that responsibility made. So it is kind of unfortunate. And now it's the concept that you allude to. It's like we basically have to dig it up to find out what's underneath there because we don't have the technology to do it without digging it up. But then you're in this kind of catch-22, and I think everybody in their passing, they deserve to peacefully move on to whether it be the next world or whatnot. You let those who are resting rest, basically. But it would be a very
I just need to add the fact that it's not because we don't find anybody that what happened in the residential school, like it's not true, because lots of stuff happened there. We know it for fact, and we have like some witness that's were there and they saw it. So that doesn't excuse anything. So this is actually we discussing what happened there, but the fact that the unmarked grave do that, they use that to raise their hate and the violence. This is my point.
Yep. No, exactly. And personally, even though it sounds like they should be the same story, they are two different stories. You know, what happened in the residential schools is something that Canada is already aware of. But then this, the allegations of mass burial grounds, well, this quite literally is, in my opinion, a different story entirely. And, to what you say, like, there is stuff that happened in the residential schools. But with regards to this burial ground, well, now we're in this catch-22 because you can't dig it up because that would be, to the nth degree improper. There's the rumors that, if you even build on the burial grounds of the ancestors, I guess you could say, bad spirits and the like. I'm not trying to, this isn't Indigenous language, I'm just saying it myself. That sort of negative energy is going to come out of the situation. So it's, I think it's interesting that, the only evidence that we have is, for the most part, imaginary. But and speaking of imaginary, well, we'll get there in a second. As the stepping stone, there's another story, Alexa. I don't know if you've seen it, but the biological male who murdered woman raped her corpse to be housed in Canadian women's prison. Yeah. Well, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't think that's appropriate. What do you think, Alexa?
Because first of all, the sentence is always lighter in a woman prison, you will know, and especially for someone who murder. Sometimes the treatment that they receive in jail, sometimes it's not the good one, especially if you rape someone too. So a biological male raping a body of a woman, and after that claiming he's a woman, make not sense at all, and make other women in that jail in danger too, because if he is capable to do it, he's capable to do it again.
Well, actually, David Menzies, one of our longtime Ontario reporters, he did a story on this. I believe it was in Kitchener, where there was an inmate, a male, what would you call it, the right language, had the XY genitalia in a female prison. And it's a very sad thing to see. Yeah, you can see the protesters there. Privacy for females, gender self-ID harms women, government scandal, media cover-up. I mean, this is all true, and speaking as a man, honestly, if I was to have to go to prison or some kind of government institution and it was either all male or all female, I know which one I'd rather be in. And I think that's for most men. And nowadays, I mean, this happened a little while ago, but recently there's been a story, not as malicious as the man who murdered and raped a corpse, but there was a story that made headlines this weekend about an Ontario high school teacher who was seen wearing massive prosthetic bust to class. I don't even know where to begin with this. I certainly can tell you they're not operable. But Alexa, is this offensive to you?
For me, it's grotesque. I would say it's grotesque, and is you are with children, okay? What's the point, first of all, to wear as big as that? Why not a normal breast? Okay, no woman have this kind of breast, first of all. Okay, so first, if you're capable to wear that kind of prosthetic, it's because you're not right there. Like nobody will say like, that feel normal, that feel like to be a woman. No, that not feel to be a woman. And I know that if I had this kind of breast, I will have like a reduction of it. Okay, because first of all, this is not normal. And look at the shorts, okay, and really tight and like showing really well, like the breasts. No, for me it's just really grotesque, and I'm actually happy that we like that we shed that to light, because I just exposed a teacher recently, a drama teacher, who do like some positivist walkies into his children and laughing at burning churches and stuff like that. And I invite everybody who knows some kind of teacher like we just saw now to write to us for exposing these teachers, and as well signing the petition at exposetheteacher.ca. So for all these teachers that we want them to not influence children, sign the petition and as well send us the tip at tips@rebelnews.com or to me at alexandra@rebelnews.com. We need to expose that because that is influencing children. And this is actually not okay. Imagine like you're, I don't know, me, 12 years old, and you see your teacher like coming in, it's a male, and have like this freaking big boobs getting out. It's just, for me, I would be like really traumatized. I would be like, what is that? It's like having almost like, I will not compare, but you know, sometimes drag queens are like wearing some crazy stuff, but because it's art, but this is not in front of children. But when you do that in front of children every day, this is traumatizing. But for my part, I don't know for you.
Yeah. No, yeah, to say the least. I don't think anybody's children should be in that room, point blank, period. And even I heard it mentioned earlier how this person's hair was just all over the place. You're in a machine class, you're using heavy machinery, things that cut, things that hurt, things that kill, and you're just going to flail your hair around and hope it gets caught in one of the machines? Like, what if the saw picked up that, well, I guess, you know, that wig probably would just fly off, I imagine. But either way, it's a negligence on the part of the teacher. And you can clearly tell whatever dysmorphia this person feels, like it's inappropriate for the classroom. And let's say, you know, if I wanted to be a teacher, what am I going to go? I'm going to go to the class every day. I'm going to wear a tiger suit and I'm going to walk on all fours and I'm going to teach my lesson. Is that appropriate? No, never. It's not appropriate. These are children who need a proper environment to learn in, not people who need, well, I don't know how a nice way to put it, but these are not the role models that we need in our schools.
But I think I heard that this school have a dress code for the student. But what about the teacher? And the teacher should show the example. But for now, we just show like some kind of stranger, really weird, or who's doing whatever he wants. Like, this is actually a bad example for, I just don't know what the school board have to say about this. Like, why they let that teacher keep like doing his job when how he's dressing. We can see the nipple out of the shirt.
More than happy to share with you and our viewers that David Menzies is on the case. And I think he's the perfect one for it. But he actually made some headway on that case. He went to wherever the situation was unfolding, I believe close to the GTA, if not within. And he got some questions answered. And that story is going to be out very soon. So all of our viewers, I enjoy you guys looking forward to that.
Yeah, because I would love to be like face to face with that teacher for asking questions, because I don't think it's mentally like straight like there, because as I say, no normal person will wear this kind of prosthesis like as big as that. No, not, I don't believe so.
Yeah, to say the least. Well, as well, I see this one of our next stories here about COVID, and it's Ottawa to make ArriveCAN optional and scrap other travel measures report. So maybe ArriveCAN's on the way out. Personally, I think they might just pause some of the more public elements that are drawing negative feedback, keep it on the back burner until a later date when they could reinstate it. What do you think about that, Alexa?
I think, when they lifted like the restriction for unvax, I would say it's because they had like a lot of suing against them. It's probably why. I don't see other like reason, but I know that now it's raining, like the suing. It's against like ArriveCAN and against all the restriction measure, because we are one of the last country to still have it. It's raining into like the government. So at one point, how they will defend themselves, saying that, yeah, they need it when the rest of the world have passed to something else. And that, I think it's Fauci say that now everything is over. Like, we need to continue like our life. And like, how you will explain that Fauci say that pandemic is over, but you keep having all these restrictions into the Canada. You have no point. They will lose if they are going in a trial. They will lose. They have not like anything to use for to say that they were right. So I'm pretty sure that it's because they have too much pressure into like some organization, as you know, like TDF are doing a suing, GCCF2, and a lot of other organization is on the case too, not only for ArriveCAN, but as well like on all the mandates. So I'm sure that they are like face to a wall, and they have no choice to say like we need to let it go. Like we need to put that optional.
I think you make an amazing point, and that is for the last 2 years, not only they've been saying this is what you need to do, they've also been saying the whole time that they're right and you're wrong. And now when time comes to pay the bill, oh, look at that, they don't have anything to back up their claims. Well, isn't that an interesting development, an interesting time we find ourselves in? And Alexa, you know, I want to ask you particularly, is ArriveCAN a very prominent feature of Roxham Road?
For Roxham?
Yeah.
Do you really think? No. So when you are right, and I did like we did an access to information, and we find out that on the 13 people who passed in less than 6 months, some of them didn't have their citizenship like capture. I was like, okay, they didn't provide like where they come from, and so we don't know their criminal like record or anything. And but we use ArriveCAN for like normal citizen that's coming like into a plane. What?
And Alexa,
this?
What is this latest report? I just wanted to ask you. So, what is Roxham Road for those who are unaware?
So Roxham Road is in the province of Quebec. Is an irregular road that was not really common in the time, but it started to be really a problem here in 2017 when Trump was threatening the Asian to remove their the permit to stay in US after the earthquake. So in the same year, in 2017, Mr. Trudeau said that if you fear the war or the oppression or you want to flee out of your country, welcome to Canada. It's our strength. So in 2017, we see like a huge, massive illegal immigration that was passing to Roxham Road. But at that time, it was just like, you know, small town, was like temporary. So we see like, I think in 2017, I think it was like 18,000 something people who passed the border. Was about the same on 2018 and 19. And but the installation like what afterwards changed to permanent one. And now some taxi from US have advertising on their side that if like Roxham Road. So, and these taxis waiting at the airport, and where the bus is coming from South America and Central America. So some bus coming into US and some taxi is waiting for them with Roxham Road on it. So it's actually a real thing that is happening. It's really something that is dangerous, because right now, on 6 months, so to January to July, we had more than 19 illegal immigrants who came into that illegal crossing border. But that brings us to more than 40,000 people at the end of the year. Most of them need to have like lodging. So now I know that the government had like take some agreement with some hotel to lodging the illegal immigrant. But we find out that most of them are not refugee. They are not like escaping for war or operation from their country. So during that, they wait for their trial to be heard of their story. Sometimes it takes 1 year to 3 years. And during that time, they are just waiting here in our country. We don't know them. We don't know their background. We don't know any information. And this is actually a real problem, the real threat for the security. I don't say that they are all like bad, but we don't know these people. And when we see that 316 people have their citizenship not captured, for me, it's like really outrageous to see that, because our beautiful country, we need to protect at one point. I'm actually for legal immigration. I think it's really good for the country, for the growing economy and jobs as well. But illegal one take the place of the legal person who are waiting since many years to come into Canada, but unfortunately their place is taken by other people who come into that illegal crossing border.
Well, and this actually happened a few years ago, but I remember, I think it was one of the stadiums in Quebec, one of the ones that was used for the Olympics. It was actually made to house migrants. Is that correct? I don't know if you're familiar with that. It was a while ago. But either way, immigration is it's undoubtedly
I think
an issue.
I heard something. I think I heard something about it, but now it's Place du Puy. It's the main place. Oh yeah, so yeah, I think it was in 2017 actually, like when the problem had begun at that illegal crossing border, because at that point we didn't expect to have like 18 people crossing like our border, and where we put them, like we didn't have like as much facility than now, because now it's been like a couple of years, but now it's getting really a big problem, because the increase is more than 217% more than the first year in 2017. So now, yeah, we have La Place du Puy in Montreal, that we know that a lot of them have been where they stay. But now we know that some of the hotels have agreement to make them stay there. So I need to investigate a little bit about like these different places and like show you the other side of the story. Mr. Legault, I did ask Mr. Trudeau to close that border, I think in last May, but Mr. Trudeau didn't seems to wants to do anything or any action, and he refused to close that illegal crossing border. So unfortunately, we are in the province where that border is. It's not a border; it's an illegal crossing border. So you will understand that once they get arrested and they pass the immigration, they need to stay where they have been like arrested. So most of them, they are staying around Montreal. So we put like a big pressure on our system in Quebec, and we have already a system that is collapsing right now. Not only the health system, but the education system, the economy system, and we need, like, they apply for money from the government. They have nothing. So, but for some of them, they have nothing on their pocket. So they receive like some check from the government, but that's from the province of Quebec. So it's why like we need to do something at one point.
Well, I think it's funny and sad at the same time, especially over the last 2 years, considering, well, it's kind of funny that Trudeau will do everything he says that he can do in relation to COVID and this and that, but you're going to keep the border open for illegal immigrants and everybody, and you're not going to be testing these people. I mean, they might as well just walk in and infect our whole society, right? If you're to take that road. But it's sad too, because they're not doing that. They're not doing realistic things that might help in the situation of like, a plague like they've claimed COVID to be. They don't take those steps. And I think we have another headline here from the JCCF. A new Justice Center releases new report on excess deaths caused by government intervention. And you know what? Bravo, JCCF. I think this is a beautiful headline. It's incredible that what the government has done is actually killed more people. Or let me just read the first little bit here. Calgary.
Are we safe on YouTube with that? Just for not going too far.
Exactly what they're saying. Assuming that it's safe, the studio will confirm. The Justice Center today released a new report entitled "Excess Deaths Contradict Narrative of Success," which draws attention to 2020 to 2022 excess deaths in Canada and suggests that these have been caused by the indirect impacts of Canadian government COVID lockdown policies. I don't even want to add anything. Great, but done, sold. You got me. Hook, line, and sinker. Alexa, what are your thoughts on that?
How I would say, like, oh yes, like we knew it, but nobody like did release it for real. And we know that the decision that have been made by the government have been caused way more death than before. Like especially with lockdown, people were like depressed, and like it's not only that, it's like a lot of other like reason why it was bad for the behavior and for the mental health of people. So I'm just like thanks them like to finally release something to show the proof that what happened. We need to make the government accountable of their act and decision that it took.
Yeah, no, and especially, it always saddens me when you think about the kids, right? And you think about somebody who's maybe 5 or 6 years old and what they've had to spend 2 years of their life in lockdown. That's literally a third of that child's life that's gone into this isolation. A lot of them are deprived of talking, and especially for really young kids when they're learning to speak and they're watching people's mouths move so that they can kind of mimic it and whatnot. Well, that's all been prevented. So there's plenty of issues psychologically and physically that have been derived from the government's response. And, this is a personal gripe of mine, but the fact that, for the last 2 years since the Quarantine Act came into play, when have they said, all right, guys, you know what? We're going to have, cells of 30 people that go out there into the middle of nowhere, build a small community so that we can alleviate some of the more densely populated regions so that we can reduce the spread. We've got the second largest country on the planet, 30, 40 million people, chump change comparatively to the rest of the world. We're not going to spread out. These initiatives were never had. And you think about when they were asking people to get tested, right? Okay, so we want to stop the spread. So we're going to ask millions of people to line up in the cold so that they can all basically touch and talk to the same person and get the exact same test. I mean, how many of those people probably got sick just from being in line? These are questions that never got asked. And it just shows how shameful their approach really was.
I'm actually agreeing with you totally.
I rambled on a there.
It's already one. Do we have a super chat before wrapping up? I can't believe that it passed so fast.
Here we go.
So,
I think we have two here. One from Fraser McBurney, $6. As we lay to rest our beloved Queen Elizabeth II, the great daughter of King George VI, let me tell you my chance encounter with Queen Elizabeth. Frasbo, $6 again. We were flying to Trinidad and Tobago when we stopped in Barbados. When we landed, the airport was closed. The royal aircraft swooped over the airport and landed. Back then, we dressed properly. We were put in the reception line. The Queen walked by the line and acknowledged us. Fond memory. All right, there you go. Now, personally, I'm pretty young, so I don't have as much of a connection with the Queen. She's never, had a picture of her in my house. Not to say that it was for a reason. It's just it never went up on the wall. What about you, Alexa? I know you're from Quebec, so I know maybe there's a difference there. But what do you think about the Queen, and maybe not the English colonies as they were, but just the person that she was?
Yeah, exactly. As I say, I honor that person by the hard work that she did. She consecrated her life to be the queen, and it's not giving to anybody to be so responsible and always there smiling and be there for the people. So I admire that from her, the strong person that she was, and to stand as a really important position. And it's always sad to see an important woman disappear, especially because we need more strong and important women in this world. So, but the only thing is unfortunately, I don't think in Quebec people really matter. This is sad because same if it's because most of them say that it's not their queen, but in the same time it is, because they permit us to stay into Canada and like be there. Same if we lost our war. So at the end of the day, it's I just found that sad, because respect the woman, respect her position, respect the family. She passed away. Have a little bit of respect, and afterward, if you want to debate on the thing that you don't want to be represented by a queen, but not during the time that she just passed away, you know. So wait to debate that another day at the National Assembly or whatever you want, but don't be mean, especially like some politicians were like, no, we are not doing like you know, sometimes we put down the flag or something like that just for honoring, you know. But the Parti Québécois didn't want it to do it, and like I was just like, this is mean. Like, just can you just respect the fact that the queen is just dead? Maybe you have like some different opinion, but at the end of the day, she was a human. Okay, she was a human, and she was a mother, and she was a grandmother, and she did like her job, and she dedicated her life to it. So just have respect, and if you disagree after.
Well, I'm not all-knowing about the subject, but it is nice to hear, you know, thoughts on the Queen. And as well, we have one last chat here from John Entwistle, $20. Thanks for the discussion and possible good news about ArriveCAN. Is there anything you wanted to add there, Alexa?
But I would say, like, I'm just wondering, okay? We see a lot of fine being given. But if they drop ArriveCAN, do they drop as well all the tickets that have been given by ArriveCAN because they didn't like downloaded it, and because it was mandatory at that time? Because now if it's not mandatory, so why it was important to have it, since it was not for, you know, it was made for, like, at the beginning, the security of Canada. But what have been changed? Prove me that something have changed for asking people to pay the fine, you know?
No, exactly. Here's hoping for that. I think, and one of the things about, there's the 5 individuals in Manitoba who went to court to fight their tickets, and they got increased charges. Well, as Tobias mentioned, and we'll bring this story out in full, their first ticket got dropped, so hopefully that'll set a precedent. And it seems like precedent is more important than law in Canada. So, you know, hopefully things will go well, but time will always tell. So, Alexa, thank you so much. It was really lovely talking to you. It's been so long. So it was really nice chatting. And I want to thank all of our viewers who stuck around, especially those who watched on platforms other than YouTube. Thank you guys so much.
And don't forget about the documentary tonight to watch on our platform. So it would be the Trucker Convoy Rebellion. So please, if you want to watch it, I think it would be awesome. It's made by Mocha Bezagan. It was there. It was following the convoy. So many like speakers are like talking in that documentary. I think it would be nice for you if you want to watch it. It's on Rebel News Plus.
Really captivating. I've already seen it. I don't know if you've already seen it, Alexa, but as soon as you guys get the chance, highly recommend it.
Thank you, everybody. I will be there on Friday. So until then, stay tuned.
We started off this convoy calling it Taking Back Our Freedoms. But our freedoms are nobody's to take away. So we're going to restore everybody's freedoms.
People came here wanting to only do a day, and the word with all the truckers is they're now staying for many days. You know, like a lot of people now are planning on days and days in Ottawa. So
we are here to end the mandat. I am not leaving till we get what we want. We're not going to give up.
I'm on lunch. I could be on lunch a long, long time.